Okay. Welcome, everybody,
Hi
to
there.
this is special guest we're having on our show. You might recognize her from 90 Day Fiancé. This
Hi.
is Christina, her mom, Jenny, and her husband now, right?
Yeah,
Sabint.
yeah.
We're on 90 Day Fiancé the other way. She was gracious enough to come on the podcast and just give a little bit of her story and let us know what she's working on and what she's been up to. So
Yeah,
thank you, Christina, for being here.
absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No doubt, no doubt. Like I said, I've watched the show. I was a fan, and I seen you along the way, stuff that you've been doing and working on, and I was really hoping that you would say yes, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I
Um,
like doing podcasts. I think they're fun. I like talking to people.
exactly. I love networking. I love and that's the reason why I made this platform because I want people to be real and open and tell their story because you never know who's listening,
Right.
and you never know whose lives you could touch, you know and so so tell us a little bit about you and where you come from and a little bit of your background.
Well, I know you guys all know me. My name's Christina. I am 43. I live in Palm Springs. I was born in the city of Orange, Los Angeles County. I've obviously been married to Jenny, my wife, for 17 years this year, going on 18 years together. Of course, you guys know my mom, Jenny. I have two sisters and four nephews, three nephews and a niece. And I'm just a fun person, just living life, doing the thing. And I am a small business owner. I closed one business and I opened another one. I'm just following my dreams and whatever makes me happy.
And it's very important to do what makes you happy and pursue your passions and your dreams you
Absolutely.
know um, And that's a beautiful thing to witness. People reach for the stars and never give up, That's like very important. And I always say, like, it doesn't matter how fast or how slow, just that forward momentum is what really matters. Because you'll eventually
Absolutely.
get,
We
you
have to
know,
keep moving forward. Time doesn't stop. It doesn't wait for anybody.
it,
So
you
you
got
got to
that
keep moving forward.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, I remember what it's like especially for me, I'll keep it on the eye, like I've had times where I felt stuck and, we will talk about it. But you got those audiobooks that we talked about, and I want
Yeah.
to mention because I listened to them and like wow, like very, very heartfelt, and it made sense. Because I had to start my life over at 40, which is one of the titles of your books, right?
Self
Starting
love at
over,
40. Yeah.
yeah, and it's funny because like things come exactly at the moment that you need them.
Right.
And because I was struggling too because I started my new career at 23, and you know it wasn't easy, but it was something that really, really changed my life, and
Yeah.
I
It's just
couldn't, I
more
couldn't be
fulfilling,
happier.
I think.
It definitely is. So going based off of that, tell us about these audiobooks that you've been working on.
Well, Self Love at 40 was the first one that I wrote, and it was just what was on the top of my head from the things that I've been dealing with from the time I hit 40. Like, honestly, it has, there's been a big change in me, not just like personality wise or like who I am or what I'm doing, but physically. And it's been up and down, you know what I mean? When you hit menopause, the way your brain kind of works changes a little bit. The way you think of yourself changes a little bit. And I just wanted people to see that even though like we get into a certain age bracket, we are not dead. Like we don't fall off. I think that we get better. It's like aging fine wine.
Right.
And most people think like, hey, once you turn a certain age, you have to be this way. You have to be a certain type of person. You've got to be a conservative, person. Don't do this. Don't do this. You have to become a grandma. And you have to sit your ass on the couch and watch your grandkids. And no, like
Right.
my mom, first of all, is a perfect example. But I just wanted people to understand the way I feel about turning 40, and I actually embraced it, even though so many feelings that I've had have been, where the hell did that come from? Like, I've never felt this way before, or I don't know where this thought is coming from. And I know that it's because I'm in a different stage in my life, and I'm looking for more stability, more peace. Drama is not a thing that I am interested in anymore. Don't get me wrong. I will defend myself and my family and the people I love with everything that I am, but I'm about peace. I would rather, enjoy my life, enjoy being 40 years old and looking like I'm 25 than being an old decrepit hag that sits in the house all day upset and moping because I don't have my youth anymore.
Right.
Makes
sense.
So these were just things that kind of spilled out from my brain, and I think it was a good thing because all of the things that I was thinking are now on paper or an audiobook, and I no longer have like that flowing desire to get these certain things off my brain because I've done it.
That's awesome.
And
really
the LGBT one, Raining Skittles.
Yes, that's the second one that we had priorly talked about. So I want to mention that one too, because that was whoa.
So important. Lots of information. And the book was, because it's Pride Month, and we have so many tiers when it comes to the the ABC family. Okay, there's so many tiers to all of us, but instead of it just being the tiers of gay people, we also have supporters, and then we also have people who are not supporting, and then we have those people who are in the middle of should I or should I not, or maybe I want to, but I just don't understand. Or maybe I am a supporter, but I don't know how I can do more. Or am I supporting correctly? Is what I'm doing right? And to me, I don't think that any way is wrong. But there are definite things that people can do to amp up their support, and it doesn't necessarily mean you have to get out there and start fighting people. That's like over people's heads, because that's what most people want to turn their thoughts to, is violence. And no, we don't need violence. We need education. So I just, and a lot of the stuff too that is in that book is very informative. And I did grab a lot of that because not every single thing in there, is in my brain, but I have things that I added to kind of make the context easier to understand for everybody, because I know reading to some people is a little harder, listening is easier. So if I can add a little bit more of a breakdown, it would just make it easier for people to understand, whether you're LGBTQ, adult, teen, supporter, or maybe you're just looking for more information.
Yes, indeed. And I think it's very important that people understand that concept. And the one thing that just resonated with me was, that there are people out there who do want to support. They just don't know how.
Right.
And that's where the information comes from.
Right.
And for people to put it out into books like that, audiobooks, I think it's very beneficial. Very beneficial.
Yeah.
So talking about the LGBTQ community, how was your experience of coming out?
I do talk about that on the show. In the very first show, I did talk about how, when I came out to my mom at 18, she wasn't very accepting. But I also had a conversation with her, and I let her know, because she knows that I'm very headstrong. I take after my grandma. And even though she's my mom, I will still tell my mom, like, this is exactly how I feel. And you can accept it or not. And I told her that. I said, if you want to be a part of my life, I love you to death, and I know how much you love me. If you want to be a part of my life, you'll try to accept, or at least try to learn. And at first, for the first maybe like year, she was a little still standoffish, but I was, still a part of my life. She was still there for me. But also, I didn't have the very best first girlfriend either. So the impression wasn't the greatest for her. um,
Mm.
but and that was for 7 years, and it was really 7 years of hell for all of us with my ex-girlfriend. But even in seeing and being a part of that, my mom was still very open to learning and accepting who I am. She didn't want to accept the other person because of the way she treated me and my family. But as
Mhm.
soon as Jenny came into the picture, it was like a switch went off in her head that this has always been normal for her, and that she had no reason at all to be upset about who I was going to be with or who I loved or who I was. I just think at the time it was the wrong person.
I can definitely identify with that. I've been there so many times. And
Right. And that person can make turn somebody's mind into, okay, if they're just going to be fighting like a man and a woman would, what's the point of not just being with a man? But see, that's what people have to understand, is that a relationship is a relationship, whether you are same sex or not. Those same problems, issues, jealousy, money, it's all the same. Like nothing else is different besides the way you treat each other and what you do in your bedroom. That is the only thing that's really different.
mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, that's kind of how it was. But after, like I said, my mom has always been very loving. And it only took maybe about a year for her to just be like, you're my daughter, I love you, and I'm going to accept you regardless, because I want to be a part of your life. And
That's
her and Jenny are the best of friends. They call each other, talk to each other, and I'm like, hi.
like
you
you're
know
talking to my mom. Like
right? And my grandma too, before she passed away, my grandma absolutely loved Jenny. And she would always call and ask for Jenny, and I'm like, she's at work. Well, tell Jenny I love her. And
aw.
my grandma too is very Christian woman, didn't really understand. I came out to her around the same time I came out to my mom. My dad was very accepting. He said, I love you, and whatever makes you happy, I accept that, because all I want is happiness for you. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Dad. But my grandma it took my grandma several years to come around. And
Mm-hmm.
again, my ex-girlfriend before Jenny was probably the problem. And when Jenny came into the picture, it's like everybody just
Their whole
loved
minds
everybody.
changed.
Yeah,
Right.
like no questions, no problems, no nothing. Just welcomed her in because of her aura, the way that she shows her love, just the person that she is in general.
Yeah. I
Made
mean, I
everybody
see her
feel,
walk into a room and not have to say anything, but like you could just see how Jenny is. She
yes,
doesn't even have to say a word. Her
yeah,
presence is very strong.
it is.
And I sense that.
Yeah,
I sense that from the beginning because my empathy is right on point. And
yes,
it's all about energy, and you could just feel people's personality. And like I've seen it obviously because I could see how she supports you because it's been on the TV episodes, how she's been there for you. And I
yeah.
think it's really cute.
Thank
I think
you.
it's great. I think it's
I
great.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
anytime. Yeah, coming out for me was a different story.
Yeah.
Um, oh, I came out late. I was 26.
Okay.
26. Because my family is really, we're not a close knit family, to put it simply. And,
Got you.
you know, sometimes I had to stand on my own,
Yeah.
and stick up for myself.
Yeah.
And along the way, you know, having a voice kind of builds your self confidence, you know.
Absolutely.
So, you asked me today, I'm proud of who I became, trials, tribulations. Um, we all have a story.
Yeah,
We all have a story.
we do.
And
Everybody.
and it's amazing how you learn from other people and you experience the beautiness of life if you just let it in.
Right.
And that's we were talking about that prior. It's beautiful to see these things happen,
I
you
agree.
know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what held me back from even coming out, Christina, was the fact of, like I said, the self-confidence, but I always struggled with the fact of how do I put it? I let fear run my life for so long, and it,
It's no
it's
way to live.
no,
Yeah.
it's paralyzing, right?
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize how paralyzing fear can be. You know,
Yeah. That's
it's
why a lot of people
crazy.
stay in domestic situations because
Oh,
you're in fear,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. But you're right. Once you find that right person, everything falls into place. That's awesome, though. I'm glad that you found Jenny, and you've been together quite some time. So
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing how much
Thank
time
you.
and effort you put into that. It's
Yes.
really beautiful to see.
Thank you.
So now, here's what everybody probably wants to know is, what can you tell us about the latest or what's has gone on the show with your mom and Submit?
So the latest, I don't know if you guys are watching, but Diaries, that's the newest show that they're on. And I know everybody has seen my mom's relationship with Submit's mom, and it's been wonderful. It's been great. I've had several a phone call with her, and she's hasn't had one complaint. She's excited. She loves that her and Submit's mom are pretty much besties now. They go shopping all the time. She's teaching her how to cook. She's teaching her slowly how to speak Hindi because it's a pretty tough language.
I
Um,
can imagine.
but she has her little translator and stuff, so she's able to talk to her a little better than before. And just moving forward, I just I don't know what else, like just the family thing, I think. Yeah, because like I really can't say much moving forward from that, but um they're doing fantastic, and I love the fact that my mom feels comfortable and welcome, and the fact that she feels welcome, then she can say no if she doesn't want to go, you know what I mean, instead of being told, sorry, you can't go to this family function, and this, that, and the third. So it makes me really happy for her that she has the option to say I don't want to go this now, as opposed to being told no.
Hmm.
That's not a good
Hmm.
feeling for anybody at any age.
No, it's not. And you know, we've talked about this too. Is that I give kudos to your mom for living her life and going out there and wanting to pursue something different to fulfill her life.
Yes,
And
absolutely. As everyone should, follow your dreams. I know it can be scary, but if my mom can do it at 60 years old and move to a whole nother country and just immerse herself, I think anybody that really wants to do it can do it.
definitely,
You know,
definitely, if the heart's there, the passion's there, you can achieve anything in life that you want to, no matter
absolutely.
what age you are.
Yep. Just
No
do it.
matter what age you are.
Yeah. I mean,
And
what's the worst that can happen? You fail and you have to come back home. We
right,
all fail at some point. We all try things and we fail and we move on to the next. Like that's just life.
got that right. You got that right. You hit the nail on the head on that one.
Yeah. I fail all the time, but I always pick myself back up and say, okay, what's the next thing I can do to try to succeed? And I know that
Right.
one day, one of the things that I do of the many things that I do is going to be, you know, my success, what I take to the grave. But until I find that, I'm going to always try. I'm not just going to give up and sit down on the couch and be like, okay, well, I guess I'm just going to sit here and watch Maury Povich all day. Like,
Right.
no, we have things to
Right.
do. You know what I mean?
Life still goes on. Life
Still
still
goes
goes
on.
on.
Yep,
And, it's important to get in touch with who you are and your true, authentic self. And a lot
absolutely.
of people, I realize this, um, that a lot of people throughout the years kind of tend to lose sight of who they really are. And, you know,
Yeah, it's easy.
it's
It's
very
easy,
easy.
because life, everyday stuff, kids, spouses, work,
Yeah.
all of it gets in the way, and it makes you lose yourself sometimes if you don't take that extra time, take those vacations, take those days that they give you. If your work, just like my wife works, they give them a buttload of days off for self-care. Like, it doesn't matter if you call in that morning and say, you know, I need a self-care day. They're not going to ding you. There's like this big old book of things that some of the most strangest things you can take the day off for, but it's all self-care. And
Mm-hmm.
because she works for a healthcare place. So they take, I mean, God, it's, the list goes on. And I was reading it and I was just like, wow, I've never in my life seen a company give a list of reasons why you can take days off and encourage you
Wow.
to do so, you know?
That's a
So,
beautiful thing right there, because a lot of people need that. You
yes.
know,
And
it's
most people
always
are like,
good to
I
take
can't.
mental health days.
Yes, mental health days are important and people should take them, especially when you start getting overwhelmed at work, or you're having a problem with a coworker or whatever the case may be. You have to take that mental step away or it might turn bad,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
know?
Yep. You never know. And your mind, you have to remember too, with all the therapy I've had and stuff throughout my life, but you just have to be mindful of like the energy that you're pouring into yourself also,
Right.
because if it's negative, you're going to get negative. If it's positive,
Absolutely.
you're going to attract that. The
Hmm.
law of attraction, I believe in wholeheartedly,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
because we're all built of energy. So the energy you give off is what you're going to get back,
Right.
you know.
Yep.
And I've also needed to learn people, places, and things, you know.
Right. And times. There's a time
Yes,
for everything.
you got that right,
There is a
Christina.
time for everything.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so I usually ask people this. Now, if somebody had asked you what if you had one thing or one piece of advice to give the world, what kind of advice do you hold near and dear to your heart?
Be kind.
Be kind.
Kind. It really, 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 really costs nothing to be kind, honestly. And these days, regardless if people like cancel culture or not, it's here to stay. And being hateful and spiteful, especially on the internet, because that's where everybody, it doesn't, I don't care who says it, but the internet is where everybody is. Internet is where everybody gets their information. People don't really hang out that much anymore. You know, the internet is where people are. So even if you're
Mm-hmm.
talking crap, acting like an idiot on the internet, that's showing people who you are, whether you're face to face with somebody or not. So those type of things in public and online can cost you way more than it can to either just keep your mouth shut, let
Yep.
people live, or spread kindness. And if you can't do that and you're willing to lose everything that you've built, or if you don't lose it, you're willing for the public to think of you in a certain light, then you already have lost. And it doesn't matter whether it's money, your job, your car, your house. The person that you are inside is the most valuable thing you have, because all those other things are tangible and
Mm-hmm.
can be lost and or replaced, but you yourself and uh your, you know, who you are as a person cannot.
Right.
You can apologize refusely for being an asshole, but whether or
Right.
not people hold you accountable and say, okay, we accept that, but we still have not forgotten and will always look at you differently,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you've already lost. So to me, just be kind. And if you can't be kind, keep it to yourself.
That was great. That was great.
Thank you.
Wow. So listen, I'm gonna end it right there on that note because that was just beautiful right there.
Aw, thanks.
That was beautiful, and you've taken time out of your day. So thank you
Of course.
for being here and talking to me.
No problem.
I think you're an awesome person,
Aw,
and you do reach people because, I mean, I noticed you. You know, I thought you were pretty cool without even really talking to you.
aw,
You
thanks,
know,
Jess. I appreciate
you could
that.
feel your energy too. Like, you could feel, I mean, it's weird how, like, you feel that. I can't. I'm a Cancer, so like by nature, I'm an empath, and like
Yeah.
I'm
I'm a
just yeah.
Capricorn, so yeah, me too.
There you go. There you
Me
go.
too. Yeah, it's very
Liz,
strong-minded, very strong-willed as well. That's why I'm like, I'm very kind, but don't let the smile fool you.
that's true too. I hear that. I hear that.
Well,
But
thank you for
I
having me, Jessica.
yes, and so really quick,
Yeah.
look out for those audiobooks. Self love after 40, right?
Self-love at 40. Yeah.
At 40, and then it's Raining Skittles. Uh, the second audiobook that you had worked on, both
Great
awesome.
doesn't
I
mean day.
recommend them. Yes. So if anybody needs to reach you or find out how to order these books or you know see what you're working on, how could they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at blenditboo. That's where I mainly do most of my everything, pretty much, because that's where I've built kind of my following there. I will be actually going back onto Dixie's because of her treats. So if you're interested in the treats, I have the Dixie Instagram as well, but it's attached to mine. So, but if you're trying to find me for anything at all, Blended Boo is my main source, and you can find me there for anything on Instagram.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You heard her, people. Take a look at those audiobooks. I recommend them.
Send me a
You
DM.
will, yes, you will not be disappointed with those books.
Thank you.
I was so drawn into them. So it's a good listen, and you guys will get a lot out of it. Thank you again, Christina, and I will send you the copies of this. Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you so much, Christina.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye. Until
Bye.
next time.